All right, welcome to Mori, episode 27. It's been a while. Say hi.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Sip, sip. Yeah, I'm doing this from my bungalow. I'm on vacation right now for like 9 days with my parents. So, in the
Oh,
same country, Netherlands. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit different setup, but I mean, no difference for here, but you get what I mean.
thankfully you can bring your Steam Deck with you whenever you want.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it. Except if you don't have Wi-Fi, then you're kind of fucked with this. But otherwise, it's pretty neat. Obviously, can bring my
But
whole
once,
PC to somewhere.
but from what I understand, once the game is installed, it doesn't need to always be online to play, right? Or does it?
No. I mean, some games are just only online, and other games are just like you can just play right away. But yeah, depending on how much storage you have for certain games, yeah, you can just play whatever you want, basically. Except
Okay,
online
good.
features if you don't have Wi-Fi, but otherwise, you can just
Yeah,
play
but like
whatever.
that's kind of been a trend these days. I don't know if you guys noticing it. Sometimes even offline games need to phone home before and sometimes even during when you're playing them.
Mm.
So uh, that's kind of a problem if you're moving around like you are. Or just I mean in a place like Trinidad where the internet isn't that good, you might be locked out of a library of legally obtained games. In that case,
Ah.
the pirate actually has a better experience. I don't I don't know if you remember this, but this was one of the earlier cases years ago where the first Assassin's Creed, I think, um,
Mm.
or the earlier ones, they needed to be online all the time to
Mm.
work, even the campaign.
Mm.
Which was just ridiculous. It's like this
Mm.
is a single player game. What we don't need to be always online. I think that's kind of a problem that becoming more and more prevalent. And especially like when you mentioned on it, it's not just a case of like a game being only online uh, where they could take it away. But even that is a problem too because I don't think you could even play. Another Overwatch player, but from what I understand, you can't even play one anymore, right? It's been replaced by two. So I don't.
Yeah, I don't haven't played any of them, so
Yeah, but
no real clue about that.
but I mean, but you can see where this could be a problem. Like fans of these games could never play them again if the official servers go offline.
Yeah,
Even
that's
after
true. I
they
mean, there have been multiple games that have that problem. Just like the servers are offline, you can just can't play them anymore because you can't join lobbies anymore. You can just do anything. It's the same with the Halo franchise or the early games. If those
yeah
when those servers went down, nobody could play them. And I remember like the last players just played an endless, game just to keep the servers for like the company that was behind Halo just kept the servers long enough for these last few players just to play the game till it's finished. So
yeah
the game would be online till they finished their game. So they kept on long enough as where it left the last player,
yeah
and then the servers were gone. Like for the other games, the same way. Or
and
people,
now for consoles I could kind of see it because you're tied to their servers, but for PC they used to be able to be your own server. I think
yeah, you can host your own servers. Yeah.
right. So I mean, like because of that, I wish like games if they realize, look, we can't make money from this game anymore. So we turn off our official servers. But here's a patch, to
Yeah.
allow you to use your own servers. Or some games had that option from the beginning. I think to use your
Mm.
server or to use the official server. Which I think that should be something from the beginning. This because you're spending
Yeah.
60, you might be spending $60 on a game, and you might be spending hundreds of dollars on all the stuff for the game, and then your purchase is just gone. Now I don't play these types of games, so it's not so much an issue for me, but it's becoming is sneaking over into single player games. You know, this kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I know for Dusk, that's the case. You can just create your own server and just do whatever. You don't have to rely on the normal servers that run that game per se. But
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
not.
that's a real simple game, obviously. So
Oh yeah, but it's not. I imagine even a small game like that, an indie game, could implement that. You're telling me, you know, EA and all these guys can't do it.
mm,
You know, like they
mhm.
recently, I think they announced the new Ubisoft. I think the new Star Wars game has to be. It has to connect. It's a campaign, but it has to connect online. You know, it requires an internet connection. You know, like what the hell is this? So people used to say that an advantage of console games is you could just put in a disc and it'll work. You know, what the hell is
Yeah.
this? You know,
Yeah.
it's some
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And you have the problem with loot boxes that more games just tend to go to those than just, the actual game itself. And just try to get money, in-game money, and not much else for the thing. Just going
Oh, yeah,
over and over and over.
and that's like some places have classified that as gambling, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah,
You know,
some countries have just straight up.
yeah, which I think it is because it's like, all right, clearly you're enticing people here, and the game doesn't have to. If the game itself is M-rated, it shouldn't be playing it anyway. But if the game is um for teens and people who not supposed to be gambling, then it's like a problem there, But even outside of that, they're not classed as gambling, so they're avoiding the taxes. So I think that's part of the problem too. In fact, that's probably the main reason government's going after them because they want a piece of that money and the games not giving them any. Like
Yeah.
I kind of cynical, so I wouldn't ever assume that the government doing if the government is ever doing anything that is positive for the consumer, it's because they have something to gain from it, So they want that piece of the pie, Okay, you're doing gambling, okay, fine, but pay with the money, pay with the taxes for gambling,
Yeah. Send it back into the economy and then just put it in your own pockets.
Yeah, But yeah, that's kind of off topic. I don't know if I guess it's tangentially related to some of the
Yeah,
stuff,
like usual. And then we're just 2.5 hours later. Some shit like
yeah.
that. But yeah, I mean, recent news was like the eclipse happened over Canada and America. Oh yeah, and Mexico. No, it was not Canada. It was Mexico and Canada. No,
I think
Mexico and
Canada
America.
I think Canada got some of it. I think there's areas that didn't get the whole eclipse, but there might have been they would have seen a partial eclipse from their point of view. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure of that, but yeah, and some people, of course, they we didn't. I don't think we saw nothing, like
No, my side, no.
Yeah, not that.
Just only there in 27 years, or like the next one is gonna be 27 years from now or something like that. So
yeah, we'll get it on the replay. We'll get we'll get the rerun.
getting a rerun of the eclipse.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen one once, like partially here in the Netherlands, which is kind of rare because it's almost always cloudy. So that's. But we just had, we had a bit of luck that the clouds that pulled through the clouds, so we could see it. It was years back though, when I was still in school. So,
And once again, the world didn't end.
No,
Yet again,
the Maya calendar wasn't right this time.
How many times are gonna get ready and nothing? All dressed up and nowhere to go. As they say. What the hell is this?
Yeah, there's always these kinds of priests that think like they're like, the elderly, like 80-year-old priests that say like, no, it's gonna be the 5th of November or some shit like that, and then it hits that day, nothing happens. No, I was wrong. It was next year or some shit. Going.
Well, you could if you read any kind of text, you could say you could make up anything, because it's vague anyway. So we could make up whatever we want. Come up with new
basically.
reasons as to why. It didn't happen this time because I forgot to carry the one, or whatever, that kind of thing. Yeah, I remember. I don't know. I don't know if he was alive for the year 2000, but that was like
I
a
mean,
huge
yeah,
deal.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
nothing
Been.
happened. Yeah. So you saw that was a huge doomsday thing. People was freaking out. Oh God, the computer's gonna rise up and kill everybody.
Yeah, Y2K. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
didn't
in
happen.
reality, nothing happened. There's just, a few clocks, a few things here and there, but no major computer systems went whatnot. It was just a few things that just went haywire a bit.
Yeah, yeah. What actually did when haywire? I think at the time I was remembering something.
I think a few digital clocks somewhere, and some, in the street, some things went down, or refrigerators, internal clocks went a bit haywire, or some shit like that. Small things, no big, huge
You see, that was
computer systems or whatnot, or factories, or you name it.
so
Nah.
and you see, people didn't learn the lesson. That was an early warning not to make none of these goddamn smart devices because they're shit. Yeah, what? If anything, they've even gotten more smart and more dumb. Now they have more clocks in them, more computers in them.
I mean, nowadays they would probably handle it because they're like built to last. I mean, see, year 2000 is gonna take another like less than 1,000 years to get to that point again. But I'm like, even if we survive that long, for that matter. Plus, it's not, it's more like the people that are dumb, and not the technology itself. It's more like, if you handle it right, then the technology will be good. If you handle it bad, then well, it gets retarded. Then
Yeah,
you
well,
kind of have a
you know
problem.
what? That'll be somebody else's problem at that point. Let them deal with it. We at the time where I think the way how they're doing the dates now, I think is like an incredibly far off date where they'll end up in a similar Y2K situation again. It's like I think one I was reading something like 30,000 years or something like that. The way how they're writing it down.
Yeah,
Or maybe
yeah.
maybe it'll be the year 10,000 because they only have 3 digits for the year. That's some
Mm.
bullshit up. I don't know.
Well, oh well, we won't be living that long, except if we can just freeze ourselves, shit like that, or
No,
put our conscious into a robot and just live forever that way. But
you know what? Not with
otherwise,
that attitude. You had to think positive. Maybe something will come up. Like you ever
who
heard of
knows?
this kind
Could be
of?
interesting.
There's this kind of line of thinking where people say, so if you just hold on long enough, something will come along that will increase your life by, let me say, 5 years. And if you hold out for 5 more years, something will come out and it'll increase it by 10 years. And you could
Yeah,
kind of ride that wave of immortality or whatever. I don't know if
yeah, but I wouldn't want to be immortal, though. I mean, everything can go up, like lightning by 500%, hitting by a car, dying by heart stroke, like everything just goes up, and it's just like, it won't be really that fun just bearing, and plus for the populace, if everybody or like majority of the populace was immortal, then you get literally overpopulation. You're getting immortal council like Knights of Sidonia, for instance, or like the captain in there and other. I don't know, wouldn't really. I mean, it would be interesting though to see how that really would go. I mean, we would probably go to a different planet at that point. We have to, because Earth is not immortal. So you have to go to travel to different planets, go to the speed of sound. I mean, light to go anywhere else. Which is being literally on Sidonia, just going from generation to generation. Or like, well, if we were immortal, then we didn't have to do that. But you get what I mean. It would be a big problem.
well,
Uh,
I think we talked about generation shifts before.
yeah, maybe a few times, I think.
So that is one way around it. To get around it. But on the other hand, though, you're talking. So one of the problems you're talking about there is the rise in prices of stuff. over time.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? Oh well, I imagine. Well, I hope at least that technology kind of keep up with some stuff. Like, imagine, a phone that everybody has now would have been a $10,000 computer back in the day, and it would have been slower, and it would have taken up a room.
Yeah.
So, maybe in the near future we'll have tiny nuclear reactors for the home, and it'll power the home for 100 years or something.
Yeah. I mean, I remember somewhere like somebody was trying to invent like a giant box that basically can charge your devices from a distance. You don't have to put them anywhere or put a cable into them. They just charge through the air basically. But I'm like, that's gonna be a long while till we really get it. And the thing is pretty big, by the way. It's like a little sizable part of your room gonna be gone to it, but
I think that isn't there wireless charging already in real life?
I mean, if you charger itself, then it's gonna charge, but not like from a distance. Like you're like in a room, and your phone charges like through the whole house. Basically, that's the kind of device I'm talking about. But like, it's gonna be a while till they
Yeah, and that had to be
a unit up that people can actually buy, or like the super rich can have it or something like that. But other than that.
You know what? The song, I don't like the song of that. That sounds like it's cooking you somehow. It's gonna cause some other problem that we don't know about. It's like, oh, by the way, it was microwaving you slowly, but you signed away, right?
You'll be cooked from the inside out if you turn this on. Yay!
Yeah, and then
dinner is free.
But and even then it will still have people being, but the convenience, it was so convenient. We didn't have to plug it in,
I guess you won't cook from the inside out. I think they test that. Kind of want to see how they're gonna test that without cooking somebody from the inside out or something like that. I like the same testing as like in Steins Gate when Stern wanted to teleport or like time travel people, and it just came out as green goo, basically just as a corpse, half dead or like just dead, and then you just couldn't really get to actual time travel, and just have to just the whole stuff, like they find this conspiracy, they find these hidden documents, and they just go this whole rabbit route and just like try to fix all the whole thing. I don't know, something like that.
I had to read. I still had to read / watch that actually.
Oh, you should.
I hear it's
pretty damn good.
But I know. I saw your experiences too. I just kind of go through waves of things. Like I don't want, like for the past, I don't know, few years maybe I only watching like more calming stuff. Like Free Ren and stuff. Has some action in it, but I think it's more of a reflective kind of show. Like I ain't even watched that everybody losing their shit over Demon Slayer. I don't watch this.
Yeah, I don't care really about that. That's a bit too easy for me now. Maybe if it was 14, I would have liked answers.
Now that series has kinda been out of the radars, maybe because it's completed. It has been completed for a couple of years now, and not as much people are talking about it anymore. Or maybe I'm wrong, because the anime maybe is still continuing.
Right. I think the anime is ongoing. I think so.
I saw a movie like not too long ago, so I'm like.
But people are not talking about it as much as they did before, or is it just my impression, or?
I think you might be right, but people still because they're anticipating. A lot of people don't they don't go to read the manga when the anime stops.
So they wait for the anime.
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know, including myself. And I had to say, I I don't know if a lot of you have this problem where some manga is hard to follow. Maybe sometimes it's because of the art style being not so clear. Sometimes it's like I had a little bit of trouble following the Attack on Titan manga. I didn't think it was as clear all the time what was happening. And I don't know. Maybe that's a me problem. But I've had that in like I'm reading the Trigon manga now, and sometimes I'm having a hard time following exactly what's happening.
I mean,
Or
yeah,
maybe
the art is a bit messier. Sometimes you don't really get how panelists just spanned out.
right, and also is that also mixed with the fact that you're not told everything one time, so you might miss something. Yeah, sometimes I might just kind of be tired while reading and miss something that's supposed to be super important. But but yeah, like I didn't really, I don't think I read out the Attack on Titan manga when it stopped. I kind of waited for the show.
Oh well.
I read some of it, but like I kind of lose a bit of interest because I was getting confused. Oh, the same thing is happening with I think To Your Eternity. Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
Right. So I guess spoilers for people who haven't read it or don't know about it, but they reach the modern age now, and the story is like kind of is a lot different. It's I don't. It feels like a lot more grounded. You know what I mean? Like is that and not as interesting. You've read it though?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it, but like, yeah, it sounds like, oh no, it's now in war time, so it's not in that fantastical or like otherworldly
Right.
world anymore as it was before. It's just like normal, like it is now. So it's not
Yes.
really that
And
interesting.
like I don't know. I have a hard time. Yeah. Like generally don't like games that don't have any fantastical elements. I don't know if that is. It might seem strange. Um,
Mm.
probably the most quote unquote grounded game I like. I like Far Cry 2. There wasn't anything fantastical in that, but I wouldn't really call it realistic.
Mm.
Um, is
Oh,
but yeah, but
yeah,
I'm,
no.
but yeah.
Like,
So I kind of monopolizing things. What you guys been watching and reading?
now kind of going back to Demon Slayer. I see like for the nominees of Anime of the Year for the Crunchyroll Awards, like Demon Slayer is like top here. Best continuing series, Demon Slayer again. Not for here. Best movie, like it's popping a lot up. Obviously, I mean it's the Crunchyroll Awards. Obviously, it's gonna go. It picks out the best. The more shojo like shown stuff that I can think of. Obviously, your Demon Slayer again, etc., etc., etc. But I don't know. Jujutsu Kaisen, obviously, Mob Psycho, Chainsaw Man, Attack on Titan for the last fucking time. Even Trigon Stampede as a nominee for best. I mean, it was not too bad, but oh well. Like,
Uh,
yeah.
and what about you? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I have watched, basically, I have finished that slice of life anime from 2005, Kamichu, with a friend of mine. I'm not 100% convinced. I mean, it was cute and well done for the time, I guess, but the episodes were like stretched out too much. They felt too long most of the time. There were a couple of episodes that were fun and entertaining. Like this episode where the protagonist, was called upon to contact and interact with this Martian who came to Earth to deliver back a space probe that landed on Mars, and that was funny. A comedy episode with her interacting with this alien girl. But apart from that episode, most of them were mainly uneventful. I mean, it's a series that has been kind of forgotten for many years, and I've been watching it with a friend. We were looking for things we had in our plan to watch list for many years, and we are trying to clear both of our lists. And I don't know, we are going to pick something else, and we will probably watch the Spirit of Wonder or V series because he hasn't watched it yet. So for him, it's a good opportunity to watch it, and then we will move to something else entirely again. And after we finish it, what about you, Qbhall? What have you been watching?
Well, I started. Well, let me. Still watching Delicious in Dungeon. Actually, a new episode might have dropped. I should probably check it.
Yeah,
And
episode 15.
yeah, and Free Reign. Moving slowly through those. Um, but I also yeah, I mentioned it before here. There's a book series I was obsessed with. Three Body Problem. Um, uh, and they adapted it recently. China has adapted the first book, but Netflix has now dropped their series, I think, which adapts the first and part of the second books. I believe I haven't watched it yet, but it's kind of I sure you experienced this before, like where there's something that was very niche, and nobody knew about it, and you couldn't talk to anybody about it, and now suddenly everybody talking about it. But I mean, I guess it's inevitable, but I find they've kind of westernized it maybe a little too much because the original series was set in China, and this one I think they've moved it to the UK. So it's very different. And one of the things with the interesting things with the book was and what reminded me of Blame, aka Blam, was the idea of like the scales of time, let me just pose a question there. I think I had asked you guys before, like if there was some threat coming towards Earth, like a cosmic threat, but it was hundreds of years away, would you change how you live your life today? Did I ever ask you guys this before? But I
I
think it was an
mean,
interesting question.
would I change anything? Probably not, because we can't really change much. The government would probably go and fetch up some plan to do something about it, about being a ship, alien ship coming to them. They probably have some protocol in case it happens. Maybe don't know that
Oh,
much, but like we can do much. I mean, probably some nut jobs is probably trying to make some device or like hang up signs or it's like ring a bell around to see oh, the earth is gonna end, we're all gonna die, etc, 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 those kind of stuff. Other ones tries to make peace or create some cold or like those typical kinds of stuff is probably what's gonna happen, like with anything that's ever happened in general. But yeah,
well,
I mean personally, eh,
I mean, imagine
or a
imagine
bunker.
now that now this is not a secret. This is something that the whole world knows. So uh, imagine all the governments kind of putting their resources into this, and the world is kind of united, But then, like I say, some people, uh, I mean, it's not an easy question to answer, But somebody like me, I would be obsessed with it. I
Mm.
wouldn't be able to live normally knowing that, even though I would never know, because like obviously you're gonna be dead before anything actually happens. But um, yeah, just
I
something
mean,
to.
yeah, yeah, with a comment, I'm like, you can, deflect it, or like, people have thought up some things with like satellites to cast it away, or etc., and like, nuke it wouldn't really work because it wouldn't be too powerful enough. And even if you do explode it, then you have thousands of more pieces hurling down the earth, and that's also another great thing to have, especially if those
Now,
pieces are still
I,
big
I,
enough to wipe out something. But
I would say with the meteor is a little different because you may not need a huge amount of technology as you might think because you don't need to blow it up. All you need
Oh
to do
no.
is to shift it.
Yeah,
Like if
yeah,
you
that's what
shift
I
it,
said. That would be smarter than just actually thinking of blowing it up.
yeah. So, but if it's an alien, no, if it's an alien civilization and the messages that because remember the messages could reach at the speed of light. So even if they're light years away, if they're 5 light years away, if they're traveling at sublight speed, it's gonna take very long. It's gonna take,
Yeah,
you
yeah. I
know,
mean, by
even
the
if you could
time,
travel at light speed, it will still take years. But then you had to think about they accelerate. They have to accelerate, or even a percentage of light speed. Let me say zero point 0.1 light speed. It's interesting to think about in the stellar journeys because once you reach your maximum speed, you then have to immediately start decelerating because you don't want to overshoot your target. You know,
hmm,
it's kind of like an interesting thing. So your maximum speed, I think, will be that which you could reach at half your journey because then you immediately have to start slowing down. Because if you don't do that, you won't stop in time. It's kind of interesting.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you know, yeah, like I'm somebody that would become. I would get. I have obsessions. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to think of anything else. So I'd probably join the people that trying to, in whatever
Ah,
way I could, trying to come up with something.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it kind of does me think about what's Godzilla minus one. Yeah, there was also a group at the end of the movie that came together to defeat Godzilla once and for all without the help of the government. So it's not that far fetched, really, but that's
Yeah.
Hmm.
One
few
interesting thing is that
1,000 meter
yeah.
tall monster, but
Oh yeah, but even that is like just the idea, right? That a civilization could have interstellar ships that could reach here from that distance. That is proof enough that this race is technologically superior to us. And that means
yeah,
also that they're technologically superior to us now. How much more superior they're gonna be when they reach? Because they're gonna be if they're traveling for hundreds of years. You had to kind of assume, yeah, so think they have a head start then basically. So even if we take off now, even technologically speaking, not physically with a ship, if we start researching things now, we'll always be behind them. You know,
hmm.
it's kind of an interesting thing to think about because
Yeah,
and
yeah. I mean, yeah. Or you have a message sent to Earth, or it's like just we pick it up by chance, but like at the time that it reaches us, try to find them. The craft is already been broken, already been destroyed by an asteroid rain, or like some other entity has taken it
yes,
out. You just see it float. It's like half dead. I don't know. It's also like a fantasy of mine. Like I've seen it like old TV series. Like there are once upon a time there was space. There's also like there's also the concept of like huge ships just flying around in space and just being completely destroyed and just you just wonder what happened to it. So, like I don't know, it's an interesting idea that you sometimes have just that kind of exploring of like things you don't really understand but are still there. It's a bit of a just a mystery, just a bit of an horror aspect to it, but it's more like just an in awe of like what happened ever to this craft. Who were those people? Like
yes.
what that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like man, I mentioned this before. Like it's possible to you mention like by the time you get a message or by the time you observe something, any amount of time could have passed. Billions of years probably. We see in the light of dead stars. But
Hmm.
like yeah, I always use the example. If we saw something that was clearly artificial, like light years away, like a big triangle, there's
They
nothing
could be
like that.
dead by now, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I
they
mean,
could be dead, but it would be a splinter in my mind constantly. Oh, what was that? We'll never know. Even if we send a guy now, they would never reach in our lifetime. They would be
Are
dead.
you
There's
guys
no they,
familiar with the Kardashev scale? The
yeah, oh yeah,
Kardashev scale.
yeah, is crazy to think about. So that is exactly how a mega structure that we see would be a creature higher than on the Kardashev scale or not, much higher. Any kind of
Mm.
um, so the thing that people imagine that we might see is a what do they call it, a Dyson sphere. So there would be that would be what, that would be Kardashev scale. That would be a civilization that could utilize the entire power of their sun.
And that is
Uh,
not even the maximum level achievable.
right.
It's like
So
type 2, if I remember correctly, because type 1 is a civilization capable of using all the energy available on the planet they live in. And type 2, they can access all the energy from their star. And type 3 is a civilization that can access in energy from the whole galaxy, basically. I don't know, mess with black holes and stuff like that, any star. And I don't know, I mean, for a type 3 civilization, assuming such civilization exists, they should be, if they exist now, capable of reaching to us anytime, I guess. Maybe they already did, but we simply are not aware of them. They came, they observed us, they left no trace of their presence, or maybe they even created us, and we do not know.
Prometheus.
Anything is possible. Yeah, even a Prometheus, which is, I mean, the theory of the ancient astronauts, is something that has been around way before Prometheus. I mean, it's something very, very old. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't want
yeah,
to say old as the ancient civilization. I mean, that is just speculation, but somebody has assumed the possibility of something like that be the reality of things many, many years ago. I don't remember
oh
who
yeah,
exactly. Hmm?
imagine. Sorry, say the last part again. Sorry.
What?
What was the
Was
last thing you said? The last.
many. I mean, somebody surely has theorized the possibility of an ancient civilization visiting us in the past, or even creating humanity entirely, or life on Earth as a whole, or maybe bringing life from another planet to Earth. At some point, even if so, we are all aliens basically. And I mean, there are many theories about the origin of life on Earth, and one is that we came from elsewhere and we were brought here by an ancient alien civilization. Or another theory is that we are like in Alien Prometheus, made by these aliens. And some people believe this, as weird as it sounds, but
yeah. I mean,
No,
yeah,
it's
I mean,
weird.
I suppose it's not really that weird because, like, even if you, let's say you believe that life, it was created here, or it formed here by
Yeah,
natural circumstance. Even that is an incredible thing to think about. Like, if I made the statement, I was thinking about this. But if I made a statement like, could a computer just come out of the universe, like just through random chance, just form itself in front of us, or any kind of complex system? Well, I just thinking about a computer or a smartphone, and it would the obvious answer to you would be no. But then you had to think, wait, but isn't that what happened? Didn't Because people came and then that came. So like that was a natural circumstance of the universe, and that happened naturally, right? Isn't that crazy to think about, or to think about it like that? I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, in a sense, nothing is unnatural because people were a natural thing that happened, right? If you think about it that way. So then nothing that comes from humans is really unnatural. They, they're part of the universe,
I
you
mean,
know?
yeah, we create things that don't come in the natural world, like the color blue, for instance. Like color blue is kind of rare in nature for it to happen. So like we created a majority, or like different metals or like different machines or whatnot. They're just actually going to space, which none of us
Yeah,
can. So like that kind of stuff can happen. Yeah, I mean,
so if you start thinking down that lines, wouldn't you say that a smartphone is a natural phenomenon of the universe? Because it was
I
made by
mean,
something
from a
that was
creation
natural.
like us, I mean, we are natural, thus we can create these things from the resources that are present, thus
Yeah,
it
so
can be
I,
done.
I mean, if you think about like so like that's kind of a crazy thing to think about. You know, I think we talked about Boltzmann brains here before too. Because that is what had got me along this line of thinking. Did I ever mention this to you guys?
Hmm. Don't remember.
Yeah. So
Not
the
really.
idea of a Boltzmann brain is that because the universe is so vast and random things are happening and things are assembling themselves just to random chance. Um, there could be that a brain, a consciousness could just form out of like natural matter just out there at random. Not even like to say evolving slowly like on Earth probably, but just at random. It could just come into existence spontaneously. It sounds ridiculous, right? But I mean, considering the universe is pretty big and it lasts and it's so pretty old, pretty big and pretty old, it must happen at least once, right? Oh, well, that must happen. I should say, if you assume that the universe is infinitely long, let me say it's going to last infinitely long. Wouldn't it mean that matter will arrange itself in all possible combinations eventually?
I
Is that
mean, I mean, it
all right?
depends
Well,
from.
make it as let me make it a smaller example then. Like if we randomly shuffle up a pack of cards, eventually we'll put them back in the original state that they were in, right?
Yeah,
Right. So doesn't that mean that but it will take a long time. So consider that the universe and imagine this brain is made of the brain is made out of matter of the universe. So if we shuffle the universal deck enough time, eventually that will happen, right? Given enough time.
I
Is
mean,
that
yeah,
a
you can.
I'm not saying it happening anytime soon, but I mean it must happen. So that is kind of the idea of a Boltzmann brain. And you could get even crazier with it. It could be like this Boltzmann brain could, out at random chance, um, it could be possessed of a series of memories, fake memories even. Like uh, I mean, we could all be inside one right now. We could all be one right now. This it get kind of crazy, but I mean, you could see given infinite time, all kinds of stuff could happen. I mean, like you think like this kind of reminds me of like how people talk about simulation theory and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, we can be like stuck our brain can be stuck into a jar, and we just be thinking that we are alive and feeling and whatnot, but it's just like stimuli that our brain gives, basically, and just we receive it. But
Yeah,
it's not the reality of this world. It doesn't have to. You can just simulate that stuff, and you just you think you're alive, but you're not really alive, and you just go on. And like it depends per planet what you can do with life and how you create it. I mean, without a moon, life would be totally different on Earth because it has a magnetic pull on the Earth, so there's a balance between it. But if there was no moon, then life would be really difficult in here, and just a lot different. It would be still alive, but it would just be really minimal and just advanced as we are now. So it's like
well,
it just
some people were thinking, and I was wondering about it, that it might be that life, as we know it, needs a moon to exist for some reason. I don't know. But I was
mm,
reading about that. Maybe it would it was basically a theory that was kind of being talked about. I mean, we only have a sample size of one, the Earth, so we don't really have a way to test it to see. But
mm,
yeah, and like some people were saying that the Earth the Earth seems to have a lot of good coincidences going for it. You know that it had a moon that was able to. Can't remember what was the moon actually supposed to do, if it was supposed to kind of stabilize things or what. But or maybe it helps to prevent too many meteorites. I don't know. I can't remember what it
I
was, but
mean,
you know,
with flooding, for instance, like that the sea goes back and forth using cycles. That's the kind of thing that helps, and like the rotation of Earth and all that stuff. Just keeping it in balance, keeping the Earth like in a sort of balance. I don't really know all the details of
ah,
that anymore, but
okay. So it's not so it's not going wildly out of control, is what I mean.
no,
Uh,
I'm like the Earth, the moon is getting farther and farther away, like a day per year or something like that, or like no, it was like what is it, 10
So
kilometers a year or
at
something like
some
that.
point, the moon will leave the Earth orbit altogether, and life
Mm.
yeah,
on Earth will not be possible as it is right now.
No, it'll be completely different.
well, I wonder what
Thankfully, we are not going to be here by then.
No, that's gonna take a while for for that to happen.
well
That's a
I wonder
long way away.
what do they say will happen? There will be no more tides. There'll
I
be
mean,
Uh,
it's like
mm,
it's like the same thing as like the sun will explode eventually, like as a
Eventually,
red
yeah.
giant, and just we won't be around anymore. But that takes so goddamn long that like life itself on the planet will probably not even be possible anymore, or like we as humans are gonna be either we blew itself up, we migrated to other planets, or some other natural event or whatever happened, and we're just
There
not
are
there
so
anymore.
many things like I know that our galaxy is going to merge with, I don't remember if it's Pegasus or another galaxy, but they are going to
Yeah.
merge together. And also, people say that the universe will end at some point because the distances between stars are going to become long, like they are going to increase, and therefore the universe is going to become at some point many I don't know how much, but it's going to take some time, like more time than life on Earth has been present. So,
Mhm.
like at some point, the whole universe will be an empty space, an
Yeah, we
infinite
won't see any
dark
stars
void
anymore.
without stars. Yes, because all the stars are going to die out at some point. I mean, as far as we know, we do not know if at some point the new stars are going to be born, but that is what people said for now, that at some point
Mhm.
everything will come to an end. They also talk about the chance of our universe collapsing with another universe, and when that happens, everything in our universe will be destroyed instantly. And I mean, this sounds like some shit from Dragon Ball Super or something like that. But I mean, some scientists
I mean, in like
theorize that
more than 10,000 years, like way, way in the
I
future.
mean, it's
And
going to
there
be
is
like,
also,
yeah, billions of years, or
oh
trillions of
yeah,
years, or more.
yeah,
So
a
we
lot of
won't be around to see it.
we see it now. And also the
well,
theory
not with
is,
that attitude.
well, and also the theory
Uh,
is, if the universe ends, then you will see kind of like small big bands constantly popping up, like it's fireworks, constantly these klein small flickerings of light just kind of popping off, but nothing ever creates because it doesn't have the energy anymore to do so, or like or you have to need to have the theory of a black hole sucking out everything up and a white hole spewing out everything out, and boom, you have another parallel universe, a new universe or some shit like that. But that's all theories. So
yeah, it's interesting to think about. Like some people think that people talk about the Big Bang, but it's not just to say that it was the start of of all existence. It was just the start of this one, you know. So I often get in fights with a friend of mine about like he have like a law background, so he always he wants to he believes that humans could understand everything. But I'm trying to explain that it's possible to have like forms of matter and stuff that we will never interact with, you know. Like I think we mentioned the tesseract before. Uh, it's supposed to be a shape that is a shadow of a fourth dimensional cube. So imagine that is all we could ever kind of really understand. That is only the shadow of it. We could never really see it because I mean we kind of limited here, you know. So I'm saying there could be things like that, you know. And imagine that universe before was probably made of like totally alien matter, you know, matter that resembles nothing like what we have now. That's totally incompatible. Like we wouldn't even be able to create an instrument to measure it because maybe even interacting with it it could never interact with matter that we have the ability to fashion instruments of, you know. It's kind of weird to think about. Like I read a lot of strange sci-fi and they talk about these kind of things. I don't claim to understand them, but there was one I think called Child's Ladder. I don't understand a lot of it, but what I understand from it is that you know you had creatures made out of totally different matter that incompatible with this universe, you know. So imagine the universe before was probably something like that, and whatever comes after might be something like that too. It'll be the end of this universe. Oh, and the idea of stars flying away, and apart from stars dying out, there's also before that happens, people think that the stars. Some people think that the stars will be so far apart from each other because you know a lot of stuff is kind of escaping away from each other. Galaxies moving away from each other, and so imagine we had come about at a later stage in the universe. We might not have seen other galaxies because they would have already gone beyond the event horizon. So we could never see them and we could never interact with them. You know, so and even go further than that. At a later stage in the universe, we might not have known that there was anything other than this solar system. Because the sky would be
in the
totally dark.
17th century, 18th century, we just, you know, we knew about the, you know, different star systems or like different.
What I mean is that, like right now, we could see stars in the night, but there will be a point where we wouldn't be able to see them ever again.
Oh, that's gonna talk about that. Yeah, okay.
But okay. I mean, it's messed up to imagine, right? But the creatures that evolve under that sky will not know that there was ever anything.
No, there won't really be any idea like what's gonna be out there or whatnot, or from different, or or people don't have like, or people see stars but don't know that what they are, like in Silo, for instance. Like yet you had the camera that just pans out on like the empty world outside, and at night you see the stars, but they were never told that there were stars or like what stars are. So you just see these lights but you don't know what they are, so like can be really, they're curious about it but they don't really know what to do with it. So like they also never get explored by that time. So yeah,
but I do get the idea that
but yeah, if there are no stars, then you can't really map out where to go or like what to do with it. So you can't really go out there or send something out there for it to reach, because there's nothing to reach, or like you have no clue if it will ever reach something if there's no stars to be found anywhere.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I thought about, because I thought if people seeing, if whatever, well, I'm saying people, but if whatever creature sees nothing out there, they would never have an instinct to reach for anything. They would never even bother to try. It might change. It might change their psychology entirely, because I think seeing these things in the sky, it had to have ingrained some sort of curiosity in humans, and it changed the course of the evolution just by seeing them every day, and thinking, what is that? I mean, there's
yeah,
no way to know, but I thought it was interesting. Like you see, like
we have
I'm
that.
saying,
There's so many things than just stars, but yeah. Oh well.
yeah. I mean,
But
as
oh
far as
well.
those early humans would have thought that they would have been, they might have thought that they were mega structures too, or whatever.
I
They were
mean,
as
yeah, maybe.
mysterious as that. You know. Uh,
I mean,
yeah. I don't know.
yeah, but yeah. Going back to what have I watched? I watched the cinema Lupin the Third, the Castle of Cagliostro. That was pretty good for like a first Hideaki movie. I mean, it was
And
pretty cute. I mean, it was like not like the most best movie ever, but like it had that energy
yeah,
in it, that the kind of adventure and wonder in it. So
this was the first time you seen it.
yeah, on in the
Oh,
cinema.
really?
Yeah,
No, but first time ever seeing it.
yeah,
Oh man, that is a good one. I mean, like, I think you should watch it again. There's a lot of cool touches in it, and things that he would use later too. Um,
yeah. I've seen it from like Steven. Also made a video about it, like the time that Lupin jumped between towers from the castle. He
yeah, that
also
was
used that in
insane.
another anime that he used like 10 years before. That all are small things that we've seen before. But like for most Lupin the Third fans, it's like this is like the best version of Lupin the Third that we've seen, or like the best adaptation really of a story. Like
A lot
even
of people say one second, hold on. But yeah, a lot of people say it's like a different kind of Lupin. Does that make sense? It's like a different
mm,
um
yeah. In the beginning, he was more an Italian aristocrat type of deal that just like wanted the most fancy things, but this version you just use the cheapest light or the cheapest car, etc, 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 and just kind of changes it up from like it's good enough, it gets the job done basically, and just you know and in this movie it also takes its time to just slowly build something up, or just like think about some stuff, and not just going to think all the time. Just having like a slow build up. Like, and for like the main, and also the backgrounds are pretty damn good. And I don't know, it's also kind of brutal. Like some people just getting straight up murdered, or like the bad guy just getting squashed between the towers. And like on a clock, the hands just squash him, and other stuff that happens. So I don't know, like you have to believe the thing that Lupin would die, and just goes on this plane because it's 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 him, obviously. Of course there has to be planes in it, so that has to be thought up, and then comes back as some kind of ghost and just goes on this whole run. But yeah, it's a pretty good adaptation as far as I've seen. Adaptations of him, not much else really that way. But yeah, like for other stuff, like a couple of days I watched like Bad Labor TV series, like 2 episodes, now 3 episodes. Then I watched Dio manga Dio. Watch that, and then I watched the latest episode of Dungeon Meshi, obviously, and yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. In the second season, they have to go find little Sis again because she's off with the wicked wizard. Because I don't know, for some reason Wizard still thinks that the king is still alive. Has been probably in the painting itself, just to relive the past. Can't let that go. It's just everything has to be the same as it was. So even have to change the girl into a dragon again, or some shit like that. Not really sure, but I've seen some spoilers on that from the manga a bit, but you know.
I see.
Uh huh. Oh, you turned off his audio. But yeah.
Anything new?
Anything new? Well, in our bungalow we have a sauna for some reason. Yeah, apparently my parents had could have gone in a cheaper bungalow if they just changed parks. So they went to a new park, and in one of the rooms where I'm in now, it has literally a sauna. Like all of the room is just picked up with a sauna. So yeah,
You know,
it's kind of
I,
weird.
I, yeah, here is every other house in the Netherlands has that. You know,
Hmm.
is that true? How many houses have a sauna in them? Or yeah, I think.
Hmm.
I, is that well? I mean, like this place is so hot. You had to be friggin' insane to have something like that here. But I don't think I would doubt that there's a sauna in this country, or at the very least in
Hmm.
anyone's
I
house.
mean, the whole country is a
Definitely,
sauna, basically. So.
yeah. We need our opposite. Is there? You know what? Nobody ever really made it. What we need more houses here with like walk-in freezers. That is what we
I
need
mean,
here to keep
Alaska or
everything safe.
something like that, like really cold places, probably have that something like that. But
Yeah, man, I don't think you're calling some craziness there. I don't think you realize how low cold resistance people is here. Like when it's like 20 Celsius, people start to freak out. It's like, holy shit, the ice age, and they're putting on freaking sweaters and shit. It's
yeah,
insane.
yeah, yeah. But I guess it's a bit more difficult to literally have a cold room in a country that's really hot. Like you have to have machines that really can handle a type of heat, because here in the Netherlands, our freezers and whatnot can't handle like freeze. Then just you know they're not built on that, so they can't really handle that. So a lot of countries wouldn't really could do that. I'm like, or don't have the money to do it. So I think it would just make a lot more electricity to let it work. And like a sauna is just like hot coals, and you just put in or hot stones, and you put water on it, and boom, you have steam, boom, you have warmth, and that's about it. And just the temperature of it. So it's like, it's a bit more cost efficient, I guess, than just making a literal
Right.
freezer in a really hot country. But I don't know, I'm not expert on that type of stuff. So
Yeah, I could kind of see. I could kind of see that. Like it's easy that we could burn anything. We could throw some friggin'
yeah,
water
basically.
bottles on that and make a sauna if we really wanted, and we had grown, had grown kind of fed up of living. But yeah, I could see that.
Hmm.
I could see that being a lot easier. So it's just coals in a room that and it's the same as coals to cook.
No, they're just like, yeah, what are they? And like, I guess not the type that can use it. I mean, I can go inside one right now. Let's see. Like, it's basically just one wooden box that's just like these. Yeah, they're just basically stones that you just, heat up, and then sort of yeah, in an iron cast, and just put water on it, the vape thing, and you can just change the temperature and just lie down on some wooden bench and just pour water on yourself with a towel and just get completely naked. That type of stuff, but not
Uh,
really my thing to do. So, yeah.
what's the temperature outside there right now these days?
Uh, like we have central heating in here, so it's like 20 degrees or something like that, 21.
Oh, but outside.
Yeah, outside the sun is like 20 degrees or something like that. So like outside it's like 13 at the moment because the temperature really dropped for the rest of the week.
Yeah, if it was 13 here, people would drop dead and thing. It's like how it is here. People rarely care. I think the cold, including me. Like
Mm.
somebody moved to like UK. A friend of mine moved to the UK recently, and it's like, yeah, when it's 20, people pull up bathing suits and shit. It's like, what? What is this savage land? People
Yeah.
bathing and stuff outside at the seaside and things like that. It's kind of crazy to imagine. Yeah, for people here, it's unimaginable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like
what do you think about Dungeon Meshi, the last couple of episodes?
I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah.
So I guess no spoilers. Oh, you know what I have been watching? I've been watching that new X-Men cartoon. I think I mentioned it before, but in the 90s there was an X-Men TV show, and this is a show made in that style, continuing it. And you know what? It's surprisingly good. I didn't think they could do it. X-Men 97 is the name of it, if you wanted to look at it.
Oh, X-Men. Yeah, I haven't really watched those back in the day, so like not really caught up with it.
But you might think the animation in the old one doesn't hold up. It might be a little difficult for you to get into if you used to how modern stuff this looks. But some episodes hold up okay, I think, in my opinion. But I mean, I bias because that was like at the time in Trinidad, that was like the biggest show ever. Or one of the biggest cartoons. Like a lot of people might know this, but that was a lot of people's first exposure to the X-Men, even before the comic. And like a lot of people here didn't really have access to comics, so all those superhero shows were their first time seeing these characters. The X-Men, Batman, I know Koma like Batman, right? The Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and imagine after all these years, that's still hailed as one of the best adaptations ever for that character, if not the best, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many people actually. I mean, it was amazing. There was so much. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's cartoonish, and Batman originally came out like, I don't know, in the 50s. I don't want to say. I mean, I don't know if it's correct. When was Batman?
60s? Probably 60s, I think.
Or either 60s or 50s. No, in 1939.
Oh, you mean the original comics? I mean, if you talked
the
about the
original
show,
comic
then
book,
like,
yeah.
what would be the 60s?
Yeah, because I mean, that anime maybe does a good job in portraying the character since the first apparitions in the before World War II. I don't know. It's just my theory, but who knows? I'm no expert. I haven't read Batman ever. I mean, I only know the cartoon and the character because I have watched the movies, the Tim Burton ones, the other guy. I mean, super famous Batman Begins, The Dark Knight. What was the name of the fucking director? I don't remember. Damn, it's super.
You mean not the original comic creator, not Frank Miller?
No, the director of the movies. I mean, what was the name of the guy?
Not
it's
Snyder?
super famous.
Zack Snyder?
Christopher Nolan.
But sorry, right? Batman Begins. Okay, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
Begins is the movie from 2005 and was the first one by Nolan, directed by Nolan, and also the screenplay. And
You know,
after that, it came out The Dark Knight, also did by Nolan.
you know, I liked it, but I think it was a little overrated. I think people was losing their mind too much about it. Um, I don't know, but that's just me though. You know, I like the I don't know. I kind of view Batman as like a fantasy. So to make him realistic is almost like, well, he's not this. You know, he can never be this. He's an unrealistic, crazy character. You know, so
Yeah, I mean, he's a bit more realistic than, let's say, Superman or all the other characters, I say. But, it has over the years, different makers have made it more weirder and weirder. Like, there was like some writer that made it, that wanted to answer the question, like, why is he always lucky by surviving all this shit? Or why can he do this? Or why can he do that? Well, there's like a bad god that secretly gives him the powers, but he has no clue himself. So to try and find out the gods punish him and make the whole city of Gotham Batman or some shit like that. Or like you have also a version of like an Eldritch Batman story, and the list goes on. Like you have multiple different weird stories that just continue that saga, I guess.
it's interesting that Batman seems like a very malleable character. Like they put him in all kinds of different things, totally different things. Imagine like that 1939 version would be unrecognizable today. You know, I think in the first episode, the first set of books, he carried a gun, like a friggin' literal gun, not like a grappling hook gun or anything, but yeah, I'm gonna shoot you, evildoer, that kind of stuff. It's interesting.
Mm.
And like even among animation, there was somebody like Batman Brave and the Bold. I think that was targeted at younger kids, and clearly Batman the animated series was a little older. But yeah, it's interesting to think about. It's like a lot of different versions of them, because like when I was a kid, I used to think that all these had to be related somehow. I didn't realize that these guys just making it up as they go along. Wherever they come up with at the moment, you think there's so much thought put into it. Well, sometimes yes, but sometimes they're just making shit up.
Yeah, it's just amazing, or just have something else going on than the same shit over and over and over and over. Just or like have weird proportions, like this one guy that just drew his character with like enormous biceps that make no sense at all with his arms and other stuff. And like in the beginning, he drew normal. I don't know. There's like YouTube videos I watched once when I was bored, but I don't really know the details anymore.
Oh, which guy is that? Not Bane, the guy with the. Is that who you're talking about?
There was one author that tried to do what was it again? Silk? No, not Silk. That's Marvel again. What was it again?
You're talking about the artist or actual character?
Yeah, no, an artist that drew like really big arms for a while in the scene.
You're not thinking of Liefeld?
Maybe I don't really
Not
remember.
Rob
Just what did he make again? Spiral? What was it again?
A lot of people don't on Liefeld, but I mean, look, the guy make his mark on things. He made Deadpool, for God's sake.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I watched Deadpool 2 yesterday on my laptop. Like, man, it was really fucking dumb. Like every detail is really fucking stupid. Anyway, even the music, just like they make like these classical songs that you usually hear, and then you think you hear something else, which is something stupid, and like they actually made the team really fucking dumb. what you would usually hear or like think you hear for something like that. And I don't know, it's just like breaking the fourth wall all the time. Like they don't have enough budget to have this and this and this actor, and like plot lines don't really make sense, or like you know getting
Yeah.
stuff from like Terminator or RoboCop, etc., etc., etc. But it's Deadpool. It's like always that kind of shit.
Yeah, I think fourth wall stuff is that's kind of interesting. Supposedly in the comic he just be aware he in a comic, kind of an interesting thing.
Mhm. Yeah, you have also a
But
female Deadpool that just constantly breaks the fourth wall or something. That's her whole quirk or something like that. Uh,
oh, but but you guys could probably it might interest you to check out Tree Body. It's actually for free
yeah.
on
At a colleague that was watching the show on like Netflix or something like that. It thought it was pretty good, especially a boat scene like they're sailing
no,
through
don't
a
sell it out.
wire
Don't
and
sell it
just the
out. Don't
whole
sell it
thing
out.
gets.
That's a huge reveal when people see it.
Oh.
Trust me. It has yeah, people are gonna lose their mind when they see that. I haven't seen it in that one yet, but I've seen it in the other one. There's the Chinese. There's a Chinese adaptation. There's actually a Chinese one for free on YouTube, and it's good actually. And it adapts the first book very faithfully, as opposed to the Netflix one. So I think not a lot of people will know about that one, but which is weird because I mean it's freaking free.
I mean,
Well, you
yeah, I
can't
mean,
read it.
it depends how you market the thing. If you like, if you like Netflix and everybody is on Netflix already, and you just make this big, ads about it and whatnot, then you get people around. But like, if it's free on YouTube, like the majority is on YouTube, like it really doesn't stick out that much, especially if it's like doesn't really get made a lot of ads or made a lot of you know advertisements for it, and it can be a bit more unknown, I guess.
It's weird though. Like you think that they would advertise it. You
Yeah.
think that they'd advertise the hell out of it, but they
Mm.
just kind of it's actually like our official 10 cent YouTube release thing. I think. I don't know. Maybe people see, oh, it's just some crazy Chinese series. Nothing to see here. No, this is
Yeah.
the biggest science fiction event of the millennium. It has to see it.
Yeah, maybe also that. Maybe because it's Chinese, they don't want to see it, but I don't know. Not
I mean,
really.
if you take a look at a lot of stuff, like a lot of Chinese and Korean stuff coming out, like it seems like China and Korea used to more accept outsourcing work in animation and video games, but now they're doing their own thing. Like you saw this game coming out, a Korean game, Stellar Blade. That is like a huge release coming out. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but I think it's the first game by a Korean developer. And it's a AAA game coming up for PS5. Yeah, you could check it up.
What's it
It'll
called?
Stellar Blade.
Stellar Blade, the one on PS5. I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I hope
that game, people argue that the hype is only due to the booty of the character.
Oh wait, I've seen this on Reddit. Yeah, like these animations that they do. Like, oh yeah, it's just about her body and nothing else.
What is like a Souls-like game or?
it looks to be a little more. Well, so far from the demo, people say it's looking linear so far, but I think that it might open up. They're not the whole game isn't out yet, so they're not really sure. But I do think it's looking to me like a AAA game in spite of all of that. I am just glad to see other developers coming up from other places where you normally wouldn't think. I mean, it's good to have more people making games, right? You get more choice. So Next thing you know, will we get a copyright strike for this? You know, like how we got last time, or copyright takedown or whatever the hell it was.
Oh, this it's just gifs of it. I'm like, they won't go down in gifs for this type of stuff. I'm like, if I actually show like, you know, some the whole show or something like that, or like the whole game or stuff that's not supposed to be shown, then they're gonna come after me. But beyond that,
this demo is I think it's all publicly available because the demo is actually out. It's not like a leak or anything. You know. Yeah. But I mean, yeah. If you put this as the thumbnail, it'll get a lot of clicks. So you might want to do that.
Yeah. Just big-breasted girl just fighting some idiots, and like.
Yeah. Forget about all that trash you was talking about. Put this as the thumbnail.
Yeah. Forget all the interesting
stuff. Alien.
It's sell. Gives you shit.
This whole video is about this. You know, just put this.
It's just about tits and nothing else.
Apart from that, you know, I find it looking good. I mean, imagine a game like this is probably the first game coming out of the first AAA game coming out of the studio. I think they may have made some smaller things before. I'm not sure, but I mean, you know, this is a game that Sony saw and they was really pushing it as being, he has a reason to buy a PS5, you know. So a lot of people kind of have it on a high pedestal, you know. Yeah, here's a totally new IP, you know, coming out for PS5, you know. Because I mean, a lot of people saying there's not a lot of reason to get a next gen console at all. I mean, like, is there anything you guys want to play that is exclusive to next gen console?
And I don't even have that, so like.
I mean, Final Fantasy 16. No, 15. What was the last one that came out? The last Final Fantasy for PlayStation 5. Which one was it? 15 or 16? I don't remember even.
I think it was 15. I think isn't 16 an online game? I'm not sure.
I don't remember either. My God, it's terrible.
I think it's on.
Be right back.
I think it's on PC. I mean, it's not exclusive.
It's going to come out on PC as well, but I don't know. Yeah. Right now, no game, no exclusive came to my mind.
I mean, as I see it, I think exclusives in my mind is what is actually sell consoles. In my mind, I know other people, they like the simplicity of consoles. And there's something to be said for that.
Are they really that simple, actually?
Well, yeah, anymore, I should say. Are they that simple anymore? Not really. You had to connect online. You had to do this, that, the other, you know, all kinds of shit.
It's the same with a PC, basically. Even if you just buy a pre-built PC or a Steam Deck, it's the same now.
Well, it's almost the same. Is that it's still expensive to get a good graphics card now, though, I think.
It depends on the resolution you want to play on.
I still play at 1080p, so you know, or less. I don't really care that much.
I mean, if you are not interested in ray tracing are not like an NVIDIA fanboy, you can get like a RX 6600 graphics card, which is around $200 now, I think, even less on discount, and you can play everything high settings in 1080p, almost every single game.
I don't know. It's amazing that people sleeping on that card. You know, there's a, because you're right, that is the best value card that I've been seeing. You know, but the
I have it on my PC right now. I have that card.
But what I find weird is this: they have ray tracing on console that use AMD cards, but the ray tracing on PC that using similar family cards works worse. It doesn't work as good. I find that
I mean, it's mainly an MD that is behind in ray tracing. I don't know if things are going to
yeah,
improve with the next generation of graphics cards. I
but I
bet
mean,
they will, but
but you see what I'm saying, right? Don't the consoles use AMD?
yeah, they do, but I don't know. Maybe it's optimization. I don't know because they need to push every single component of the hardware of the console, and I don't know. I have no
Yeah,
answer.
it's kind of annoying because like I find AMD should be putting more resources into making this work, in my opinion, because presumably you're trying to sell cards, right? And the new thing that everybody's looking for is ray tracing. Is in your interest to make AMD ray tracing not shit. I think I don't know why they.
I mean, I
I mean
don't know how. I mean, there are sure many people interested in ray tracing, but nowadays many people are also interested in the availability of GPUs. I mean, if you look and go on Steam, you can see the hardware survey, and many people is playing still on a 1060 from I don't know 7 years ago. How old is that card? They still play with that shit because it's still a decent card to play games even today. But I mean, the problem with graphics card is that Nvidia has got so expensive over the years. And also a couple of cards like the 1060 also were like such a good deal back then, and since they are still um, viable options for somebody. I mean, if you have a PC that has a 1060 6 GB of RAM, and you don't want to have, you don't feel like the necessity to upgrade because you are fine with the games that you can play with that card and that the other hardware that you have at your disposal. I mean, but if you want to buy a new PC now with new components, Nvidia doesn't give you the same amount of quality per dollar compared to AMD, which
yeah.
has much better value. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, no doubt that ray tracing is important, but it's not everything. And also now we have to keep an eye on Intel because Battle Mage, the new lineup of graphics cards after Arc, it's going to come out, and there are expectations for those, and I'm looking forward to see how good they will be and
Yeah.
where they are going to be put price wise.
Well,
Also,
more
Nvidia is
testing.
sorry if I continue. Nvidia is
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
looking more into AI development rather than gaming, as far as I can see. I mean, they are the most important hardware manufacturer for AI uh, development, and everything is moving in that direction. Even the CEO himself said on multiple occasions how it's their duty to create technology such as no one has to program, and therefore AI will be implemented on everything. And I don't know. I wouldn't be in the shoes of an IT programmer if this is going to be confirmed to be true, because it's dire. Everyone is going to need a new jobs if they are into programming. If that is the
Well,
case, I'm
I
hoping
mean,
that
is
is.
this?
Hmm? Yeah.
Well, I wonder. Like some people always imagine a technological singularity where the robots will do all this stuff, and I guess people just have the goods at such a low price or almost free. In theory, that was not in theory, but in fiction, that is one positive outlook. Whether that comes to pass, I severely doubt it. I mean, would if you were somebody that was in power, would you ever want to see that future? Would you ever want to give up your power? Because it's like the world of Star Trek. I think technology has taken care of all the basic needs. So nobody needs to actually work to survive. So
I
that
mean,
is
it's
there.
difficult to
Yeah.
say. I mean, things are, in a way that nobody wants to change much of the world. I mean, sure, there are people who wants to, but in like the governments, they think otherwise, and also the corporations' interests. It's complicated shit, unfortunately. It would be nice to live in a world where everyone was only working towards improving life for everybody, making life better, and protecting the environment, and there wouldn't be poverty, illness, and war. But unfortunately, it's unlikely
Yeah.
that things will change
Yeah. No,
anytime
I
soon.
wonder. You think this is an artificial limitation by the people who don't want things to change? Because that's how I see it sometimes. I'm thinking, they could. Well, I'm not proposing a lot of people talk about they have a name for it, UBI, Universal Basic Income. So some people think that you could give the robots the jobs, and then people will get a universal basic income. Uh, and because I mean, like they will be replacing more and more jobs, right? Is
Yeah.
that is that inevitable?
Perhaps.
So where does that leave all the people then?
I don't know. I mean, we would need a system that allows people to live without having to rely on money or working to get money. Because, I mean,
Mm,
there would be a way to.
I mean, then we probably get really fat if we don't have to work or don't have to do anything. Like, probably pretty childish. Like, what? Since like they're running a ship, everything is automatic. They don't have to work. They don't have to do anything, and can laze around all day long, and they get pretty fat and don't really have to do anything. I mean, it's not the case
Or
for that
I
already,
mean,
but it probably would just skyrocket at that point
no,
because there's no real
that is
need.
one way to look at it. I also think of wouldn't it free people up to do things that we can't even imagine? Like there's many people that probably have all kinds of inventions or art or all kinds of things like that they're not able to make because of the way how things is. If that makes sense. So some people think that it will lead to some kind of renaissance of things that we can't even imagine. A new
Mm.
a new age kind of a thing.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
a
yeah.
I suppose that is the most positive outcome. But
I mean,
that is one good possible outcome of it. But
I
I think
mean,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I mean, if people really can, you know, hold that up, I mean, then you still have people in power that just stuck in an old system and don't want to change and just, you
Yeah.
know, want to ruin everything because they just want to have the old system back, aka Russia or like other countries that want to do that, or just have their own greed or just their own, image in their head and nothing else. But like, until those people are really out and people actually come in power that actually want to change shit, then maybe we're getting closer to that. But people stay people, and there's like, another asshole shows up and when just, you know, does that kind of shit. So like, it's like getting racism or like other stuff out of the world. Like it's always gonna stay one way or the other. Uh, you never get anything 100% out of a system to better the world. Like some things you just gonna stay there and like never gonna change all the way around.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. Like people used to say, anytime there's like a new disruptive shift, people say things like when there was TV, people said radio would be dead. When there was YouTube, people said TV would be dead. That kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's like a constantly shifting thing. So people say, yeah, well, we no longer need artists and special effects people and thing. And in a sense, it'll probably take away a lot of stuff like that. But on the other hand, I don't know. Have you seen like stuff that shows where the AI takes from AI and it causes like a lot of weird garbage? You ever saw that kind of thing? Like because right now the AI is feeding on stuff that people have made, right?
Yeah.
What happens? Right. So when the AI starts to feed on images that it has made or other AI has made,
I mean, yeah, it's probably gonna be the beginning of like what we saw in the beginning with AI art, like stuff that just tries to emit something, but just comes out as a sloosh that you can't really discern from one or the other, like a really abstract painting, or like it just seems like something, but it isn't. Something like that probably, and then works something out, and then it creates something that actually looks like something that would like look feasible, or like you could imagine, or like whatnot. But I think it's gonna be the same as the beginning of like, well, we're still in the beginning of AI, but like in the real beginning of that, just like it doesn't seem like anything, but it kind of resembles something.
Well, I guess no, still waiting for it to pan out. Have they made any images that have fooled you? Because like I see like there's these whole Facebook pages that is just sharing AI art, and people praising the guy, the owner of the page, as if they've made it. It's like this is dumb. They can't see that this is clearly AI.
Yeah, I mean, for some styles, you can see that it's clearly AI. Like, there's some styles that, like, really grainy styles, for instance, or like with Cybergirls or whatnot, and just look, it's AI all from the start. Like, it's like a certain pattern it's gonna follow, like a certain style it's gonna do over and over and over and over, and you can see that it's AI. Or like you can definitely see it if you're zooming in for the eyes or hands or hair or the background or some stuff like that. Maybe some images have fooled me for like 2 seconds, but then you look a little bit closer and like, yeah, no, that's not it. That's not. That's just AI. That's not real. Or like, especially with videos, just like there's never really any video that just tricked me into thinking like, oh, this is real. I'm like, you see stuff changing or like disappearing in thin air, like aliens just plucked them out of the system or something like that, or other stuff happened. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not real. Like, it looks too much like a game or anything like that. So like, yeah, maybe some pictures just fooled me for like 2 seconds, but beyond that, you look a bit closer, like, yeah, that's not an artist. That's nobody. Or you literally have a really easy style that the eyes don't really look messed up, so that can fake it. So it's gonna be a bit different or more difficult to see if it's AR or not. If you make it way more simpler, then you can discern that. But the more difficult an image is gonna be, the more easier it's gonna look. That's from AI and not any real artist.
Yeah, but then sometimes you have people who like they actually draw like that. Like look up this artist. I think it's Richard Corbin. Yeah, Google that.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
maybe you've shown me something like that. Yeah. Ah, yeah. Like, yeah, you have sometimes on the artists that are like really like AI, but aren't AI. Like way before AI was a thing or anything.
yeah. So this is this is a guy that who draws like if you saw this now, you might think it's AI, but this is way before.
Yeah, I
Right?
can kind of see it, like with some of these drawings, so like really out of place, like too random to be from anybody. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I can
I
also
mean,
see like how AI comes up with like these weird designs that make no sense because they get it from artists like these, and they're like, oh, this is a real example. Let's follow that. I'm like, and it's also like the AI itself that just uh, picks something and just makes it that way, but like thinks that it looks that way, but it doesn't. So like, it's really weird.
but
Yeah, I can see why
but
people think this is AI.
but it's interesting. Like somebody who paints like this now. Now at the time when this come out, because as you see, he was painting before there were computers that could do any of it. All this is
Yeah,
real paint.
yeah.
You know, at least I think so. But
I mean, some of it might be computer generated, like early computer generated. Like in this pic, for instance, like the guy looks like a really early 2000s or 90s CGI, and the rest is all
no,
2D.
but that is real. That is, I think that is a real painting. Some people think he used to like models and use that as like reference, like close reference. You know, it's kind of a.
Mm.
But I mean, look at this. You know, I would think that this is AI if I didn't know this guy. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, true. If it was made today, like, yeah, that's definitely AI, especially this guy, but it looks a bit too old that an AI wouldn't do this, though. It looks like more like 90s or like early 2000s AI, no, or like AI, I
oh,
mean
but that
CGI.
I
That's
think that is that way pointing out there. I think is like the 70s or something like that. So I think is way before they had the ability to do any of this. So I mean,
mm,
you know, that they're probably able to make like a box back then. You know, yeah, this is a guy.
yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, in the
You know,
late 80s, you had some AI used for some animes, I know, and that kind of works. Like
not
for
AI,
background
CG.
stuff or other stuff, but otherwise, the whole
See,
models, no.
by the way, you mean CG, not AI.
Yeah, I mean, CG, it's
Yeah.
like different movies for like different animes, like Wings of Homogeneous, for instance, Space Force. That also used some CGI fight scene,
For which
for
part?
instance.
I don't think they use.
The test flight, like where main character gets to be in first time and flies through the air. That's being used with CGI to make those moves. By the way,
You mean
maybe I can look it up. That
the com?
scene.
You mean they composited it digitally? Or
Yeah, let me look it up.
because I get the feeling that might have been a little too early. That was the 80s. But it would have still been cell drawn, still cell painted, but probably composited digitally. But I still feel it sounds like it's too early. A little too early.
Hmm.
I need to put in Oni armies.
Um,
I know the scene though, but I looking at it, I'm trying to think of how they would, what kind of computer. Um, that's why he's flying through the clouds. Uh,
yeah, like for like the movements of the plane can make more turns, so like different stuff that you couldn't do with planes back in the day.
that looked to me like it was hand drawn, man. If it was CG, oh
I
sorry,
mean,
as you
yeah,
say, if some
obviously all
people,
the cells and all the drawings are CGI, but like how the plane moves is like a little bit enhanced by CGI, like just a tiny bit, just to change it up a bit. It's not like the whole plane is CGI. I mean, like to show more stuff, basically. Not the whole plane has been shown. Where the hell is that plane? Oh yeah. Ugh, the rest is so bad on this, but oh well. Yeah.
You know, the stuff that I imagine was might have. Now I'm not sure if they would have been able to do this though back then, but like
Yeah, whole models and other stuff. Yeah, no, that wouldn't look really dated and really primitive by that time, like late 80s, early
you know,
90s.
one thing that I used to wonder, they
Click clock.
used to paint the edge of of models black, and I think they used to photograph them and print that out, so you would have essentially line wireframe, wireframe.
Mm.
You know, but this was before they could have do it in the computer. I mean, they would actually have real models, physical models, and somehow I think they would paint the edges of it, because if you look at like there's vehicles in Aristocats and I think 101 Dalmatians and stuff, and it's like how could they have done this? You know, so that, and this was
Mm.
before they could have done it in CGI, so they used physical models
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to kind of do it. Now I used to wonder if they used to do something like that in anime where they would print out uh wireframe models. Yeah, that I was just seeing playing. Now the place where I could see them having to use CG would be that cloud layer that they just passed through. Like how they
Yeah,
had
yeah,
that
that
last.
looks kind of CG. Like, where there's all these stunts that this plane does. So, like, back in the day, that couldn't really be
Nah, they could have
done.
do that.
It
That
was
could be
done
done by
in
hand.
the late 80s, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
lady.
I watched this
I
movie. I
they
didn't like it
could
too
have do
much.
that by hand.
No, I watched it for the animation. That's really, like, top notch for the
I
time, at
I
least.
think they
But,
could have did it
I'm
by
like,
hand. I find it hard to believe that I was using CG for this.
I
You know,
mean, just enough to make this stuff happen, basically. Not
nah,
enough to actually see it and actually notice it, but it was like pretty good for the time that they actually could pull it off with like that early CGI to do this. Like,
nah,
and I know this
I
movie
I
hasn't
know by it.
like the movie came out in 90. When came this movie out?
Let me tell
Uh,
you why I don't think it's CGI, because you see like little, I don't want to call them
no,
mistakes, but you see
1987.
like little artifacts of the analog process. Like you see like the line work isn't perfect like how CG would make it. Like that is really what is give it away.
Hmm.
When the line work is too perfect. Like you see it in Iron Giant, you know. It's like, yeah, this line work is a little too perfect. This has to be CGI. But when
Yeah,
somebody is
yeah,
painting, you see a little bit of the flicker, because you're not painting everything exactly. You're seeing little artifacts. That is why I believe it has to be done by hand. They could not do that with CG back then. You know, that's how
yeah,
I
yeah,
see it. I think so. And even
Mm.
you look at Macross. Macross had one CG scene in it, Macross Plus. They had
yeah.
maybe a couple, but I know there was one where they had the jet flying through the city in CG. But
Hmm.
most side was done by hand.
Mm. I mean, I remember like OVA, like one OVA of like what 40 minutes long or something that was completely in 90s CGI. Like it's the worst thing you're gonna see of the time. It's like probably it was probably really expensive to make that back in the day. Just the whole thing just CGI, but like I couldn't watch it for like 5 minutes. It's just like unwatchable.
Which
Really,
one is
there's
that?
nothing to it that's. Hmm?
Which one was that?
Let me look it up. Maybe it has some Kitsu or something.
But they had, I think Ghost in the Shell, the first one,
For my enemy list.
the
No.
CGI actually the CGI wasn't used extensively, so it kind of holds up a little better. If they had used more, it would have looked more dated.
Hmm. Wait, maybe I can find it on my phone and type the thing in here. Uh, 1 second. Visitor. Yeah, the Visitor. That's it.
And the whole thing was CG in the 90s.
Yep. Whole thing. Right.
Oh, you should put it up. Pull it
Visitor.
up if it's available.
1989.
Wait,
Yeah. End of
you
90s.
might get I don't know if they'll jam the channel up.
Here, the whole thing. CGI. Let me see. YouTube. It's something. For a trailer or something. Did it have a trailer?
And it was Japanese.
Yeah, the whole thing is Japanese. Uh, okay, maybe just the beginning of it. Then you have a taste. Here, this type of CGI. The whole thing is like this. Is like a cutscene from like old game. Oh boy.
All right. Well, it's like how to say? I guess these guys have the walk so that other people could run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, basically, it's just like it looks. Yeah. This kind of wolf cycles, just like really still doesn't really. I don't know why the fuck they thought they're like, oh yeah, let's make this of like, it must have been just oh boy, like CGI back in the 90s was really expensive to make any scene. Like I know with Nora Twinkle Rock Me, like the first OVA for that had like half the OVA was like CGI of like a satellite around the Earth, and that costed a lot, and that's why the second OVA didn't have the in between anime cells for it, so it just looked really jagged and it didn't really work at all.
Oh,
And it's just
that's the famous the infamous one.
yeah,
Okay.
that one.
Oh, Koma,
Yeah.
I was recently reading all the everything I could find about by the author of Emanon. One of them is aboard a spaceship.
The auto. Ah, yeah, the last one he did. Captain Momo. Captain Momo. It's going to come out in English in a couple of months for Dark Horse.
Well, yeah, I think it's really interesting. Like, could you imagine jobs like that in the future? Like, we just need somebody on this this flight, on this transport thing. It's kind of interesting. And it's definitely like, yeah, I wanna check out everything that I could from that author. It's definitely interesting.
Yeah, don't expect the works to be finished though, because a lot of them
Yeah.
are.
I mean, is any work ever really finished? If you think about it.
I mean,
Spirit of Wonder.
Yeah, that just kind of, it just kind of happens. It's just kind of like a bunch of stuff that happens. It's kind of experimental now. I watched them, I thought I had liked them. They have and I had to search very hard to get the OST for them because it's not quite lost media, but it's close. Yeah, but I thought there were very dreamlike atmosphere. That's the wrong Miss China. Anime.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Or is YouTube trying to like
Spirit of Wonder? No, I don't want that. I want Miss China. That's what I want. Spirit of Wonder, sharing. Yeah. Trailer.
Oh, but
Or didn't.
we totally might get banned for this one, so be careful with it.
Yeah. Try to find the trailer, but I guess there was never a
But
trailer
and
for
even
this.
a trailer was they jam me up part time for something like a trailer.
Hmm. Oh, here's the trailer. Spirit of Wonder. Yeah, whatever. I still have to watch Spirit of Wonder, or like the other version of Spirit of Wonder.
Is I don't, is something that was is like this is like an experiment that could have only happened in the 90s, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah. It's not, and a lot of direct to video OVAs can just do anything at all. Like the most gory shit of the most experimental stuff you can think of. They just made it and just did it. I know that Kenny Lauderdale recently made a video again of like Spirit of Wonder, of like the other for other OVA on it. But I still have to watch the original, so yeah, I'm gonna wait on that video to make that. But
no,
it's still something I wanna watch. I mean,
I
lots of
think
OVAs still on my list that I wanna watch.
I think this is one of them shows where how to say like the name sounds cool in Japanese, but it don't sound that cool in this translation. I don't know. Is this a literal translation of the name? Cause
Spirit
like
of Wonder.
yeah, I wonder if it's
No.
a literal translation because yeah, that
It
that
was
might be
released
a
in English, officially, I believe, back many years ago. I don't know if it's completed though.
um.
Mm,
I think it actually got a dub. I'm not too sure about that though.
I
It might
mean,
have got a
with
dub.
singles, or if I don't know if it was in English or some other country. In Spain, it was released uh, in a way or another.
Ah,
It has been
mm,
out of print in every fucking country. The only place where you can find it in the West, I mean, in the West, in Japan, you could find it. Yes, it was released in the USA in like 5 volumes, and it's a single tankobon in Japan.
mm.
yeah.
Hopefully they can
Is that
finish Captain Momo, but I doubt it. But
well? I
wasn't it
mean,
the
it's not.
writer that just, couldn't finish anything and it was not the artist or something like that?
I mean, for Emanon, the novels are like further, like there are other novels that are never went transposed into manga. So
But I
I
mean
don't
the
know.
writer
Oh,
for the manga, not
There are
the.
like 6 or 7 Emanon novels out there, and if we consider that single manga volume is a novel, I don't know.
but I mean,
Hmm.
like something like the captain. That doesn't really need an ending in a traditional sense. If, if that makes sense, it's just the continuing adventures, you know, uh,
Yeah.
of them, through space, uh, slacking off in
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen Junji Ito doing anything new. Or he
Yeah. I mean, he always
No.
does some new, English translation to something like, it's the most celebrated horror manga year, so kind of. And then you have also like, What's the other one called? The Drifting Classroom author.
Kazuo, is it Kazuo something?
Kazuo Umezu.
Yeah, Umis. Yeah, Umis is also getting a lot of different adaptations reprinted or like new adaptations printed here. So like it's also getting in the more known again for new generations here. But I'm like, it's like still one of the big ones that still gets translated and the rest not really. Oh well, Starfruit gets a few adaptations printed. So that's okay, nice.
Which one was
Yes.
which one was the author? Chicken George. That was kind of.
No clue. Oh,
You know
by
the
the
guy
way,
I'm talking
Koma.
about?
Koma.
Yeah.
By the way, have you heard anything from your friend for that one video you want to do?
I haven't. Have you heard from Montec?
Nope. Nope.
Mm.
No, I haven't heard anything from.
Because he
Probably
seemed
busy with work.
interested in doing something about like creating a video about that publication about.
Mhm.
I don't know. We could look into it. Unfortunately, I've been quite busy lately. I will
Mm.
try to find some time in the future to dedicate to this. But we must organize if we are going to do this, like me, you, anyone else that is interested.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a video that is going to be at best 10 minutes long, not more than
Mm.
that, because
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
no much stuff to cover. It's interesting, but
Yeah.
What
oh
was
boy.
the?
Oh well.
Could you? What is the topic of this video that you're talking about? Or you don't
Basically,
want to say it?
it's like supposedly lost media of this Eroguro manga volume that came out in these years, last year in Italy and a couple of years back in France, that was supposedly released in the US, or it should have been released in the US in the mid 2000s, but apparently it never got physical release, or I mean, we think it never did it never got one, but no, it's sketchy because at some point on the publisher's site, there was a page where they offered you to buy the book digitally in 2006 or in 2007, and this ebook format was 100% printable. So basically, you could print it yourself, and they did it because they couldn't find a single printing house willing to print that book for them because of the content inside, which is gory and about sexual abuse and stuff like that.
Sexual
And I don't know
violence.
if it exists, if somebody has bought this book, this ebook back when it was available. We wonder if it's around, it's still out there in somebody's hard drive. Um,
Damn.
I mean, it's an enigma. We do not know if it exists, but at some point in time, somebody on eBay sold a copy out of 69 of this book, a printed version. So we do not know if the book came out for real, and if so, somebody at some point sold 69 printed copies of it on eBay or somewhere else. I mean, it's interesting. We need to look into it soon.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
Oh well.
so. So nobody has ever seen it in English, but
No.
Nope.
I
it's
mean,
available.
the publishing house was called Creation Books, and they did another manga volume, a single manga volume by Suehiro Maruo, which is another Eroguro manga, but this one received a printing release by them at some point. It's still one of the rarest single volumes manga available in English. And still, we do not know if everything was legit about those releases, because there were complaints about authors, book authors that never received royalties for the books that they published with them, and the guy who was behind this publishing house fled to Thailand at some point. I mean, there is a site about this situation. You can check it out yourself. It's Creation Books Fraud. If you Google it, you can find it. Everything is there, minus the story about this obscure manga release that still we do not know if it's real or not, even if it seems to be real. Otherwise, no copies would have been available on eBay. Oh, whatever. It's late, guys. I don't know if we
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think we are close to the time here. So
Yeah.
well,
Well. Okay. Well. That's it for today. We'll see you like in 2 weeks or whatnot. So. Bye.
Bye, guys.
later. Bye.